Hi, my name is Tony Promiscuo. I'm the owner and artistic director of Godiva Salon, and today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about hair condition. As product manufacturers would have you think, there are a million different conditions that your hair can suffer from or be enhanced by. And I'd like to simplify it just a little bit. When we talk about hair's condition, there's really only two factors that anyone needs to be concerned with, and it's the things that we consider when we're looking at the hair for either color or smoothing or straightening or retexturizing of any kind. And those two things are the elasticity and the porosity of the hair. And both of those things are really easy for you to check at home if you're curious as to whether or not your hair is healthy enough to move forward with color or perhaps a retexturizing or perm process. So the things that you want to check again are elasticity and porosity. And the two simple tests I'm going to give you are, for elasticity, are the ability for hair to stretch and return back to its normal shape. What you'll do is take one hair from your head and wrap it around your finger, holding it with your thumb, and pull the hair until it breaks. If your finger turns white, where the hair is before it breaks, it means it's got pretty suitable elasticity. And I'd encourage you to try that on hair from different parts of the head. And the same goes for when we're testing for porosity. You may also want to check the mid shaft of the hair, and if you have long hair, you may want to check the elasticity on the ends, because it'll vary oftentimes because of either environmental or chemical or thermal damage that can come from styling tools. So that's how we check elasticity. Again, you're going to wrap the hair around your finger, hold it with your thumb and pull it. And if your finger turns white, where there's a good amount of resistance from the hair before it breaks, you know that the elasticity is pretty good. For porosity, you're going to need a bowl of water. And what I'll have you to do is to take one hair from your head, preferably you take one from the front, possibly one from the side, and then one from the back. And you'll just lay the hair on the water. And if the hair has a normal amount of porosity, it's going to float, and that's a good sign. However, if the hair's overly porous, you're going to see part of it start to sink. If the entire hair sinks, not stinks, but sinks, you definitely have a porosity issue. So again, test it. Look for the porosity from the ends to the mid shaft. Look for the porosity on the front, side, and back of your head, as well as the elasticity in those areas. Once you've identified, the weaknesses or the strengths of your hair, then you know kind of how to proceed with conditioning treatments, and also whether it's safe to proceed with chemical processes if that's what you're considering. When it comes to actually conditioning your hair at home, I break it into primarily two categories. And those are daily conditioners and what we call reconstructive, or what you may think of as treatments that you can do yourself at home. Daily conditioners serve one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to lubricate the hair with as weightless a compound as possible so that you can get the tangles out, get a comb through it, and they may add a little bit of a moisture barrier when you start to style your hair, but that's all a daily conditioner does. The deep conditioners, the treatments, the reconstructive conditioners will require that you actually towel dry your hair before you put them on. Some people think that you can just squeeze the moisture out of your hair and apply it in the shower and leave it for 5 minutes, but it's not an effective way to use a reconstructive conditioner. Hair, like any other cylinder or anything else, can only hold so much. And just if you were to take a glass and fill it all the way to the top with water, eventually it's going to run over. Your hair is the same way. It's only going to allow so much moisture inside. So once you've towel dried it, there's room for that reconstructive treatment to actually penetrate and do what it needs to do inside your hair. And the reason that we ask you to leave those on for 20 minutes is because it takes that long, in many cases, for it to penetrate the cuticle of your hair. And that's what has to happen. The product actually has to get into the cortex of the hair before it can do any actual reconstruction or provide any long-term improvement in the overall condition of the hair. And so many people have said, well, should I put a towel on my head? What we suggest is that you put something on to hold your body heat in, because heat helps with the penetration. but it's better that it would be either a plastic shower cap or perhaps you wrap it in saran wrap. Then if you want to put a towel over it, you can. The danger of putting a towel on your hair, once you put a treatment on it, is that it could absorb the product off of your hair before it penetrates. If you've used a reconstructive conditioner on a weekly basis for either an issue with elasticity or porosity, and you've been consistent with it, and you've done it for 20 minutes, and you've done it for 4 to 6 weeks, and you're not seeing improvement in your hair, you probably don't have the right product, and I'd encourage you to get professional recommendation. And if you did, perhaps go back to that person and tell them it's not providing the results you're looking for. You may need to try something else. The reconstructive treatments and conditioners typically are more refined than a daily conditioner, and that kind of refinement is what it takes to actually penetrate the cuticle so it can benefit the cortex. Using things like olive oil, mayonnaise, any types of oils, coconut oil, any of those things really is not beneficial to your hair, and it's a waste of time because they're not refined enough to actually penetrate your hair. So it's a little insight into condition, and I'm going to have a few of these little 2 or 3 minute informational videos that you can look at, and they're going to cover different topics moving forward, such as texture of hair, the chemicals we use in our industry, some ideas and concepts in regards to hair cutting. So I hope you'll check back often, and thank you again. Tony Promiscuo on behalf of Godiva Salon.